Hi you guys, it's Karina. So I am back with another video tutorial, and today it is going to be on my Wisteria template. So she does have a video already here on my YouTube channel, but honestly it's been I think maybe 3 years ago when I recorded that video, and I think I realized when I rewatched it that I did not show you guys what the SVG looks like on Design Space. So that's why I figured, you know what, let me do a quick refresher on the tutorial, just because I had to make a couple more wisterias to add to my ceiling. So I figured, you know what, let's just make a quick tutorial. So again, so this is my wisteria template. She comes with 7 petals that will allow you to make honestly pretty much any size of a wisteria that you would like. Typically I've done 3 sizes, which is roughly around a 7-inch long wisteria, which is, this is more on the smaller side. Now this isn't using all the petals, this is using 5 petals of the wisteria to make the 7-inch. And then this is more slightly of the longer wisteria, which is, this is the one that we're going to be making today. She's roughly around 11 inches long wise. And now I did use all the petals with this one. And then again, you can make longer ones. Actually, let me go get the other one. All right, so here is the other one. Now this one is a very long one. I made this many years ago, maybe like 3, for my daughter's birthday. It was a mermaid inspired kind of theme, so I kind of wanted wisterias dangling down to kind of mimic like the water, the waves. I don't know if that makes any sense, hence the color choice. But this one is roughly around 27 inches long, so she is long. And I did use all the petals, but obviously I used a lot of petals, and I might end up making a tutorial on this one as well, just to have. I do get asked, well, where would you put these? Because obviously they're typically not the typical paper flower that I tend to make, you know, that are flat that you can put against the wall. I do tend to hang these from my ceiling. I will show you right now the little corner that I have in my office where I have these dangling. I personally love them. They're super simple to make, or at least I think. I would say maybe more on the time consuming side, especially if you're going to be making longer wisterias, but I definitely think they're worth it. They're definitely a type of template that you're sit, watch a show, which is typically what I do. I just watch a show and then I start stringing these. So I will show you the obviously how to assemble these wisterias. Like I said, I'm going to show you how to do this longer version one. I will tell you which petals to use if you want to make the smaller version, and then most likely, no, I think I will. I'll make a tutorial on the longer version. And this one is more on the multi-color. I believe I used 3 different colors just because I wanted that ombre look to it. So I think I'll do a tutorial on this one as well. But let me show you the corner in my office as to how I have these hanging. Okay, you guys, so this is the little corner here in my office. And as you can see, I do have the wisterias dangling down from the ceiling, and pretty much, I don't know if you can, let me zoom in, but I have small little push pins, as you can see, on top of the ceiling, and I just pretty much tie a small little knot on the wire, and then I just pin them onto the ceiling. And honestly, these have been here for 3 years, and they're still looking great. Absolutely love them. Cleaning wise, and that goes for any of my paper flowers, just use a little feather duster and then just dust them off. And then I do have an air purifier, so that also helps with the dust. Now also another option is, sorry if the lighting's a little bit off here, that you can tuck the wisterias in to your wall. So for example, here is a wisteria, so I just tuck them into like my floral wall, and voila. So that's another option. Okay, so you are going to need a couple of things. So when you do receive the SVG, you are going to get or should I say, when you do get the template, you're going to get the SVG, which means you can cut with your cutting machine, but you're also going to get the PDF version. PDF just means that you're going to print out the template, cut out the petals, and then you'll be able to trace and cut if you don't have a cutting machine. So you can do that as well. Personally, because it does require a lot of petals, I personally like to use my cutting machine with it. Now, I typically use my Cricut Design Space. I also have a Silhouette. Personally, I don't gravitate towards it. I've always been a Cricut girl, but if you have the Silhouette, you can definitely upload that SVG to your Silhouette machine. Just make sure that the program that you have allows SVG uploading, because if you just have the basic Silhouette Designer Studio, it does not allow SVG uploading. I believe you have to have the Designer Edition and above in order to upload SVGs, or to download them and be able to cut. So just a little disclaimer there. Okay, so you are going to need a couple of materials. First thing is first, you are going to need gauge wire. So this is what I use to string the petals, okay? And I like it just because the wire, you're able to manipulate the way that you want your wisteria to go, so that's nice. So this is the one I'm using. This is from Michaels. This one is the 26. So I know they have different sizes. So they have a thicker, thinner. I tend to use the 20. It's 26, right? Yes, the 26. And I'm using the green. They have different colors. It does not matter what color you decide to use. I am also going to be using, you need a mat, a foam mat, because we are going to be puncturing the petals. So you are going to need a foam mat. You don't necessarily need this one. This is the one that I use from McGill. You can use just a regular, craft styrofoam mat that you can find at the dollar store or Walmart. Just something, like I said, squishy enough that's going to allow you to poke holes, because you are going to be poking some holes with it. With that being said, you are going to need either a push pin, a needle, something that's going to allow you to make holes, because we're going to be making holes in our petals, and then scissors just to cut the wire. That's pretty much it. Besides that, this is all you pretty much need to assemble your wisteria, and then obviously you're going to need the petals. Now, as mentioned, we're going to be making the 11-inch, so it's the longer one. So we are going to be using all the 7 petals that come with the wisteria. So let me take you to Design Space. Let me show you what that template looks like and how many you're going to need of each. Okay, you guys, so here is over here to the left what the Wisteria SVG will look like when you get it. So it will be grouped together. Mostly I find it is grouped together with Design Space, but when I upload it to Silhouette, it's already ungrouped. But if you're on Design Space, it will be grouped. All you have to do is come to the right, and you are going to have to just ungroup it, so that way it separates. So that way the petals will be separate from the wording. Now the directions here are clearly just for you to resize the petals. The directions are not on how to make the wisteria. That is what the tutorials on YouTube are for you to follow along. Any instructions that you see on my SVGs is just for you to resize the petals, and you only have to do this once, okay? Once you resize them, save them, and then you don't have to do the resizing ever again, okay? It's only meant to be a one-time thing, not for you to keep doing it every single time you're going to use the template. So let's look at this red petal here. When looking at the instructions, let me make it a little bit bigger. Here it tells me that obviously we're going to ungroup the image, and then we need to make sure that the little lock button here is locked, okay? And then we're going to look at red, and it's telling me that we need to change the height. Okay, we're only resizing the height, not the width, because the width will automatically change to 3.5. So I am going to come over here to where the height is, and I am going to type in 3.5. So then my petal has resize itself. Okay, so we sized it. So then I'm going to go to the magenta color. Magenta is telling me that it is 3.1. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come here to the height. I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to do 3.1. Oops, I did not. There we go, 3.1. So there we go. So this is what you're going to do to all the petals. You are going to resize them. Once you've resized them, you don't need this anymore. You can delete that, okay? And then you're gonna have your size petals. I already have mine sized over here, so I'm just gonna delete these so I don't confuse you. So again, we're making the 11 inch, which means that we are going to need all the petals, all 7 of them, okay? So I am going to tell you how many you're going to need of each. So your largest petal, which is your red, you are going to need 8 of these. Okay, so your second largest petal, which is your magenta, these right here, you are going to need 8 as well. Next petal size is your lime green. Okay, you need 6 of those. Next petal size should be your aqua. And you need, hold on, 8, 8, 6. So you're going to need 5 of these. Okay. Next petal size should be your purple or your darker purple. You are going to need 8 of these. Next size should be your yellow. You will need 5 of these. Then your last petal, which is your 7th petal, the smallest one of the group, you are going to need 10. Okay, so that is for you to make the 11 inch. Okay, now if you want to make the smaller version, the 6 inch, remember, or roughly 6-7 inches, the shortest one, I did not use the 2 largest petal. I omitted the 2 largest. Okay, I used the green, the blue, the dark purple, the yellow, and the orange. Let me tell you how many I used for that one, for the smaller version. 6 of the green, 6 of the aqua, 8 of the purple, 8 of the yellow, and 10 of the orange. Again, that is if you want to make the smaller one. Remember the beginning of the video, I showed you the smaller wisteria. That's if you want to make the smaller wisteria that's roughly around 7 inches long, okay? But let's get to making the longer one. So I'm going to cut these petals out and I will be right back. I did want to show something to you quickly when you're going to cut out your petals. So I am going to be using 8.5 and 11 cardstock. So when it comes to cutting out all these petals that I need for the longer wisteria, the 4th page is going to show me 5 of the petals. Obviously, I don't want to cut these little cuties on one whole page. I'm going to move them to the other canvases and try to squeeze them in, and I'm going to have room. So let me show you how I do that in case you don't know how to do that. So I'm going to go to the 4th mat. I'm going to click on these 3 little dots here. I'm going to move object, and then I'm going to click on the mat that I want to move them to, and I'm going to move them to the 3rd one. So I'm going to click on the 3rd mat, confirm, and then here's that little cutie, and then I am just going to find a spot to put it. So I put her right here. So that's what I'm going to do to these. Okay, I'm just going to move them all to the 3rd mat because there's no point of me cutting a 4th page when I can just move these little cuties to the 3rd mat. I have plenty of room, and like as you can see, all the way down here, I have room all the way down here. So just wanted to share that tip with you in case you're new to Cricut and you don't know how to do that. this is how you move. And then as you can see, I actually changed all the color to 1-2. I forgot to mention that. You know, obviously the petals were different colors, red, magenta, but when it comes to cutting, obviously if you're going to be cutting them all one solid color, just at the end, just change them all to one color, so then that way it will put them all together, because if not, it's gonna cut them all in different mats because they're all different colors, if that makes sense. Okay, all right, let me get to cutting. All right, you guys, so my petals are all cut. So I have the first 8 here with me, the largest ones. So I did cut a piece of my wire. So remember, 11 inches long is roughly how this one is. So I did cut roughly around 15-16 inches long. So what you want to do is just do like a little loop knot around the end, just like this. Just like that, because that's just going to stop the petals from going, you know, completely through. So it'll just be like a little stop. Plus that's what you will use at the end to, hang them up if you're going to hang them from the ceiling. Now I did forget to mention, you do need a wooden dowel or something to curl with, because we are going to be curling these petals inwards just like this, and then you're going to be doing the same thing to the bottom piece, where you're going to be curling them in just like this. So this is what you want, okay? So again, you're going to do that to every single one. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to fold your little petal, this part, in like this. Remember I told you needed that little push pin? And you are going to stick that push pin through the petal just like this, right towards the edge right here. And this is why you want a mat, just to kind of help you press that in. So this is the time consuming part. So this is what you're going to do to all your petals. Let me show you again. Grab your petal, fold this little piece in, grab your push pin, push through just like this. Okay, so then once you do that, you're going to get your wire. So this longer part right here of the petal, you're going to push your wire through. Okay, so you can see it's right here. And then now we're going to push through the other side and then string it down. So remember, we did that little loop just to kind of stop it, and repeat with the next petal. Sometimes it's hard to see. All right, there we go. All right, and then just push that up, just like that. So you're going to start off with the largest petal. So you're going to go by each side. So right now I'm going to do the largest one. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I am done with those first 8. So we are on to the next size. So you're going to do the same thing. As you can see, I prepped them the same way, curling them. And then you're just going to, same thing, puncture a little hole. So then that way we can start stringing them. So then you just grab your wire. And try to string these. There we go. And then push them down. Don't worry until the end messing around with the petals, because at the end then you can kind of, like, you know, twist these around however you want the petals. But yeah, so this is it. So then I'm just going to do this second size and string them. Oh my goodness, I need to turn my lights on so I can see the hole. This is the part where it is hard. I mean, it's not difficult, you guys. It just requires patience. That's all it requires is patience. There we go. And then string that down. All right, so let me go ahead and finish this size, and I think I'm gonna do the next size as well. All right, and then I'll come back when I'm over here to this size. So I'm gonna string 2 more sizes. All right, you guys, so I've already done those second and third petal, so I am on to the next one, which is the 4th petal, and I am going to be doing the same thing. I just wanted to show you guys the progress. So I am going to go ahead and pretty much finish this up, then I will show you guys the end, but pretty much you're going to, I mean, do the same thing. Oh my goodness, hold on, you guys. I tell you, it gets a little difficult right this second petal, but I promise you it's not that hard. It's just at the angle that I'm working at right now. I'm trying to show you guys through the video. It's hard to kind of see, but I promise you it's not that difficult. All right, so let me go ahead and finish these, and I'll be back when I am down to the little cuties to show you, okay? All right, you guys, so I am almost done. I have 2 more petals left, and then I'm going to be all done. Just again, make sure that when you're threading, you're starting with the bigger side of the petal, not the shorter, okay? So go through the top of the bigger petal. And then you're going to end going through the smaller one. Come on. Get in there. You know, it's always that last one. There we go. Okay. All right, so we are all done. So I definitely have a little bit of left over. So I'm going to grab my scissors. I'm going to cut a little bit off. And then I'm just going to make a little knot on the bottom. And then kind of tuck that underneath, just like that. And then voila, you are all done. And then, like I said, just use your fingers and kind of just twist these petals around depending where you want that little point to face. So I just like to kind of turn them around. So just make sure they're not all facing the same way. But what I mean by that is you don't want your wisteria to all kind of have the pointy part facing the same way. Do you see that? You kind of want to give them a twist around. Some of them facing different sides, so it gives it a little bit better of a look. I hope that makes sense. And voila, you are all done. You're all done, you guys. So as you can see, this is the 11-inch. And then remember, I gave you the measurements to make the smaller little cutie, which is roughly around 7 inches. And like I said, you can make these, obviously you can make them smaller or you can make them longer just by adding more petals. The more petals you add, obviously the longer your wisteria will be, okay? So again, template can be found on my Etsy at Ariel Elise Designs. And then you can refer back to, I want to say the other tutorial that I had made years ago was on the shorter side, okay? So today's tutorial was on the longer side, and then stay tuned. Hopefully next week I will be making the larger tutorial. Definitely won't have time this week because it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and that means I have flowers to make for teachers. So I'm gonna be busy this week making that, but definitely staying tuned because I typically every year I make floral bouquets with pens and obviously paper flowers. So stay tuned so I can show you how to make those. But yeah, so if you have any messages, please message me either on my Etsy Instagram or TikTok. All of them are Ariel Elise Designs. All right, and I will chat with you guys later. Bye.